Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Learning Sound and Synthesis Spotlight series interview. I'm here today with Bernhard, and I'm so excited to get into this conversation. We're going to be talking a lot about the key factors that have been supporting Bernhard in deepening his modular synthesis practice, in learning how to patch with modular synths with more intention, with more direction, instead of relying so much on presets and happy accidents, which is something that we all do, of course. It's a big part of learning. But I'm really excited to get into this today. If you're watching live, go ahead and just say hello. It's always nice to see you here live. And if you're watching the replay, comment replay, let us know that you're tuning in, and we will still be able to see your comments. So I want to start off just by welcoming you, Bernhard. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, hi. Thanks for having me.
Hi. I love
Great
your
thing.
shirt. I
Hi
said
there.
this to you before, but I love the
Oh, yeah.
Yay t-shirt.
Yeah.
Um, could you start just with a brief introduction to who you are and maybe what kind of music you like to make?
hmm Sure. Well, I live or I was born and raised and live in Germany. And I basically grew up with a lot of music. I got piano lessons when I was 8, I think, until I was 20, 21 or something like that. And yeah, I had a pretty great and supportive childhood with my parents and so on. That really helped there. But I never got, and this is something that's still today like that. I never got really stressed with making music or being perfect or things like that. I had a lot of freedom with playing around, actually trying to play modern stuff from Alban Berg or Messiaen or things like that, which I kind of hardly succeeded at that time. And then when I was like 16 or so, with a friend, we got a lot into this German Krautrock stuff like Tangerine
Mhm.
Dream and Klaus Schulze and Can and things like that.
Yeah.
And so at some point, I got myself a DX7, a Yamaha DX7 at that age. And then there was a Roland and a little stuff and a Tascam 4-track recorder, things like that. So I had this kind of underground phase of making music until like maybe end of the 80s, around 90. And then I got married and kids and all of that. And then this absolutely stopped. The whole music making, even playing the piano, completely stopped for a lot of time. And, I had my job and all of these things. And the ups and downs of life. And then musically, I started again making music, or try to make music again, like in maybe 2015 or something like that. I said, oh, well, there's a lot of software out there and things like that. And so I got myself Cubase and got a lot of plugins and things like that. And I got into this software acquisition syndrome, I would say. I was not so much into hardware, not at all, except of course a MIDI keyboard. I got all these plugins and didn't get anywhere for years, I would say. And I tried to, I was not very happy about it. And then, I think maybe that's a separate story that I can tell if you want. But then, like 3 or 4 years ago, I really got things going. And since then, maybe since 3 years, I would say I started regularly making music and creating tracks that I publish on SoundCloud. And it's mainly, uh, let's say, it's between experimental, maybe drone, maybe noise, ambient, to sometimes sequence stuff. Here
Yeah.
and there, I try myself a little bit in some techno-ish bits and bytes in there, but that's maybe just small excursions into that area. So it's a lot of ambient and
Beautiful.
soundscape things. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you for
hmm
the introduction. I just want to say, because I know that this is something that so many people can relate to, that period of making music and then stopping and then coming back into it. It's
hmm
just such, I think it's so great that you're talking about it, and others have in other interviews that we've done, because it's so common, right?
Yeah.
And I've talked to so many people who might be listening right now, might be listening in the future, who understandably put a lot of pressure on themselves when they have to take time
Mm.
away. Either they have to for some reason, or life just unfolds in that way, or whatever it is,
Yes.
as it does.
Mm.
And and it can be so hard to come back in when you feel like you're behind. And I just think the more that we can share stories like yours where you're like, yeah, I stopped and then here I
Mm.
am and I'm back.
Yeah, right.
It
Exactly.
helps people realize that you can do
Yeah.
that. You can totally do that. And you're not too far behind. In fact, you're right where you are and you're doing great.
Yeah, and
um,
that's one, just a quick note. That's one thing that I really enjoy also about the community, the learning sound and synthesis community. That yeah, you hear from other people, of course, all the practical tips and tricks and so on, and of course your course was in the center of it all, but also hearing from other people, their a little bit of their stories and where their ups and downs, and it's kind of, yeah, it's like, yeah, been there, done that, and so on. But there's also a lot of input and feedback where you can say, oh, okay, I can try something else. Why not? And these people
yeah.
made it and got a
Yeah,
step further and still get stuck somewhere, and then you get another step further, and so on and so on. That's
absolutely.
super helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
For those of you who are watching who don't know what we're talking about, Learning Sound and Synthesis is my modular synthesis course that I run twice a year. And this Spotlight series, in case you just happen to be watching this for the very first time, this
mm,
Spotlight series is an opportunity where I get to sit down with the students in my class, like Bernhard, and talk to them about their musical practice and their breakthroughs and the things that help them learn this topic that we're all so passionate about. The goal is to celebrate my wonderful, amazing students and also to share a little bit of insight for all of you to like, how does this work? How do you go from A to B? How do you get through this? Because exactly what you're talking about, Bernhard, that community
mm.
element of being like, oh, they did it. That means maybe I can do it too. That's really what I want to be, helping other people kind of experience. So
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so
Well,
let's talk a little bit more. We've got a little bit of your background and your history. Um, at what point did you start to get curious about modular synths, and what was your early journey looking like in terms of modular synthesis?
well, as I said, I didn't really start with a lot of emphasis on hardware.
Right.
And one of my breakthroughs actually was when I found an album by a German artist. He's called Lomov, and he on Bandcamp and on his notes beneath the album, he somehow said he's done that with Borderlands, whatever, for a granular for iPad. And I was like, okay, you can make music with the iPad and so on. And then I looked at it a little more. So I got myself an iPad Air, a smaller one at some point, and started with AUM and all the apps that I found. And in a way, now looking at it today, it is, of course, it's not hardware, but it has, especially in AUM, for those who know it, it's a DAW, kind of a DAW, digital audio workstation. It's a little bit modular. Of course, you have a sound source, a sampler, and a synthesizer, or so on. But then you plug in like MIDI controls or all kinds of effects that you can route whatever, however you want it. Of course, I had to learn all of that, and I'm still learning. Okay, so that was like putting things together, which I talked about the happy accidents that
Yeah.
happened there, saying, wow, this reverb, and then I do whatever effect behind that and so on. That sounds interesting. And so this was already maybe a little bit like putting together single components and connect them with, then of course usually with MIDI signals or the audio signal from one to the other channel and so on. And I got to a point. Also, I still use Cubase and Native Instruments apps and so on. But I got to a point where I just said I know what a filter is and a reverb and so on, and I can kind of use it. But it's just I want to look under the hood
Yeah.
of what's going on. And during the past 2 or 3 years or so, I somehow came across this modular stuff, which is more the hardware modular stuff at first. That I just realized. I mean, I knew it was there, but I kind of realized more that it's a whole world out there, and a lot of people are doing it these days, or quite a few of them. And then I found musicians like Helene Vogelsinger and so on doing live sets and your live sets. And then also I saw some of your YouTube videos and so on. I was like, okay, That's very interesting. And then I think a year ago, I had your monthly newsletter. I think since 1.5 years or so, I got the invitation. I was not quite yet, and so on. This year it was like it was. I think it started in March,
Yeah.
February or March. I was like, yeah, I think because you said you're going to use VCV Rec, which is a software modular system, but it still has the single components, the really core components of like a oscillator, a filter, VCA, and all of these things. And I said, yeah, I want to do that because I want to look under the hood and really kind of dissect what's going on and maybe, well, first of all, understand it more for my own creating sounds. It's like I want to make a pad and then I fool around and I'm like, how these presets sound much better than my own things. And I just, and
Right.
was like, why is that? So what
Yeah.
is, of course, there's a lot of things to it. It's not only modular is not the only solution for this. But still and then I said, no, I have to go back into the very basics of the whole thing. And then when I read the description of your course and I saw your videos on YouTube, some of them that you share of this patching tips even on VCV Rec, which I hadn't used before the course. Actually, I was kind of hooked, and then I said that's what I want to do. And I do have a Strega, and so I have a
Got a couple hardware things. Yeah.
little bit of it, but I'm not going to go into hardware modular. This is just at least, let's say, not before I'm retired.
Sure.
It's just that's another rabbit hole. It's just too much.
It
I
sure
cannot handle.
is. It
I have to
definitely
make
is.
this. I have to make this decision. Although, and well, now here I am, and I've done not all of them, but most of the or many of your courses or the lessons, I should say, and learn so much. And it's really, and now I use like MyRack is the iPad version
Yep.
of VC. I also a similar version, I should say. And today I actually watched your video about this, what's it called, granular voice patching thing that you put up, I think 3 months ago, something like that. And I immediately have an idea how I want to do this with the piano and do some kind of modulation. And this is an approach that I didn't have before that. Of course, I had these plugins and reverbs and funny effects. They're great things on the iPad, which I do get results that I like, but this is more like, aha, I can really take these core
Yeah.
components and do this fine tweaking and
Yeah.
discover so many more things. And yeah, that's here I am now. So still very beginner, but it's a lot of fun.
But you've come a long way, and it is a lot of fun. So you've hit on so many amazing things that I really
Mm.
want to just take a minute to
Sure.
echo again to make sure people are hearing them. The first one, and hopefully I'll remember everything. It'll be a
Yeah.
miracle if I do. But for the first thing you said is you were already starting to work in a sort of modular way of thinking even before you approached a modular synth, just by connecting bits together in your DAW or on your iPad or with various tools. I think
Mm.
there's something there that's really interesting to think about because a lot of people, myself included, when they come into the world of modular, they're very intimidated. Let me know if you're watching the chat, or if you're watching the live stream and you're in the chat, just let me know if maybe this is you. If you're like, I'm so overwhelmed by this stuff, I'm so intimidated by it. There's no way I can do that.
Mm.
And what I've actually learned over now many, many years of teaching is that folks are more they're closer than they realize. Like you're probably already
Mm.
doing something that is a little bit of a modular way of thinking. It might not involve a modular synth. Like I just love that you brought that up, Bernhard, about how you were like, I
Yeah.
was already kind
Mm.
of working in that way. I'll take this, I'll take that, I'll connect them together here.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool thing to think about for anyone who's is feeling intimidated. Just, listen to this and maybe think, okay, have you ever used effects pedals like guitar pedals, or have you
Sure.
ever even just pulled multiple different things together in your DAW? Sure, it's not the exact same as a modular synth, but you're starting to kind of think in that way, and you're closer than you think to making that
Mm.
leap. into the world of modular. The second thing you said, Bernhard, that I love and I want to echo for people is VCV Rack. I'm such a big fan. I am not affiliated with them or endorsed by them in any way, but I just am a big fan because their software is free and it's an amazing way to start learning. So if anyone's watching and you want to learn, I'm going to put something up on the screen. Just give me one quick second here. If you go to soundandsynthesis.com/first synth patch, you can also send me a DM and say, send me your mini course. But this link, soundandsynthesis.com/first synth patch, will bring you to a completely free 10-part mini course that teaches you what modular synthesis is and how it works and how to make your first few patches using VCV Rack, which again is free and it runs on your computer. So it's an amazing, amazing resource to get started. Feel free to send me a DM if you're not able to grab that URL directly, and I'll get you the link. There was something else you said, Bernhard, but I think I might have forgotten it.
That's just fine.
I'm
I got
amazed I
myself
got
going there.
two.
Wow, very good.
So yeah, so you came into the world of modular after some time away. You still have a long way to go. Of course, that makes a lot of sense. We all do. You're working primarily with VCV Rack, which I love. What do you think that you could break down for people watching, maybe one or two key things that have been really helpful for you in your journey of learning modular and like having it all start to click? Because I know that when we were talking before, one of the things you told me was that you used to, pretty exclusively rely on presets and happy accidents where you're like, I like this sound. I don't know why it's happening, but I like it. And now, of course, you're still learning, but now you're able to, hear something or see a demo and then go, oh, I know how I could make that my own. And you've got a lot more intentionality. So what do you think has gone into helping you get there?
Well, what comes into my mind now, there might be other things, or two things. One thing is listening.
Okay, love that.
What I mean with that is that when doing the super first basic patches and applying a filter and have this drive and what's it called, resonance and things like that, simple basic settings, and then like exchanging one filter by another filter from whatever another vendor, or what you call it, some other company or brand or something, and then listening again, things like that. That's very interesting. How do you say in German? We say it sharpened my ear. I don't know if that's the right expression in English. Okay, I think I had this feeling like, I turn a few knobs here and there and then I get overwhelmed all the time. But it's like there are so many sweet spots in this little, with little changes and so on. Then, of course, you can always apply a delay and things like that to make it bigger and so on. But this very basic thing and listening to it and then doing this little tweaking was really a lot. And actually, your emphasis on listening was pretty interesting as well. So that I went outside in the evening walk and so on and started listening, and I thought, okay, I hear this tractor moving around. What is the envelope of this whole thing, or how does the filter open or close, or how would I, things like that. I wouldn't be able to really produce a sound that's anywhere near it. But the thinking of it is this part of listening, and that helped a lot. And actually doing it and have a few good examples and a good explanation with it, and also let's say, I cannot really explain it in an example, but what you say in your course was this, it's and in your lessons is there's a lot of like patchings I would never have thought of. It's like, okay, yeah, of course, it's control voltages, it's in and out, and I can connect everything, but still it's the mindset has this, okay, here's the sound, here's the filter, here's the envelope or whatever, and you can completely turn these things around. And this is like a change of the mindset also. And I'm only talking about very basic modules. Of course, I try out one of those weird modules with 100 buttons and something comes out, and this is also fun. But I
Yeah.
sometimes just do the very basic stuff that you teach, and then I still have a few lessons to go. And that is what really helped me understand, well, let's say, get going into this modular thinking. It's a journey.
Of course.
I'm on step one now here, but that's where I really had like, okay,
Okay, I
I
love this.
I kind of got it. What's the
You've
what's the deal
definitely,
of it? Yeah.
you've got it for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just hit on two of my favorite things, listening
Okay. Mm,
and simplicity. And
mm,
I emphasize both of these in every class that I teach because I think that they're so fundamental to being a musician, being a sound designer. Listening is just it's everything, I think, as musicians. The more that we can open our ears and tune our ability to not just hear sound, but to really
yeah.
connect with it. What quality does it have? How is it changing over time? What emotion and feeling is it evoking within me
Mm,
that's so subjective? And the more that we can connect to that and bring that to our studios, the deeper we'll be able to go with the instruments we have. To your point, even with the simplest of tools. And that's the other thing that I love is simplicity. You can get so much out of the simple building blocks. And I think what a mistake that a lot of people make when they're beginners is they go straight to the fancy, really complicated stuff because they think it'll get to them to fancy, complicated
mm,
sounds. In
yeah.
reality, it's the simplicity, it's the building blocks, it's the things that are admittedly sometimes a little boring. I don't think they're actually boring, but they're not too flashy. That is like the magic of sound design and modular. And when that starts to click, everything flows from there. So I just love that.
Yeah.
This might be a good moment. Yeah, people in the chat are saying, I see Right Stuff Music saying listening is so important, can totally relate. Yeah, people are
Cool.
resonating
Nice.
with that for sure. Speaking of listening, why don't we take a minute to listen? This is a good segue. You've got a
Okay.
piece that you shared with me. If
Hmm.
you're okay with that, I'll pull it up on the
Sure.
screen. Just give me a second here because I just realized I didn't prep it before. So here we go. There it is. Let me go ahead and push play on this and we'll listen to. Is there anything you want to say about this, Bernhard, before I push play? Maybe about the music, or should we just listen?
Well, maybe just it's one of my earlier work, so to say. It's 2 years old. Like I started with the whole thing publishing here for this haiku community about 3 years ago, and it's just few instruments. It's not a modular
Yeah.
setup. But it's just few instruments and a few effects, and so just one thing. My main goal behind all of this is making music. You know,
That's a good goal.
it's not getting lost in. Yes, the sounds of course are needed, but I want to create a piece out of it. That's
Yeah.
kind of, and so this catches like what comes from my heart, I think, quite well. And I
Oh,
don't
I
know, you
love
can
that.
maybe share the
Yeah.
whole thing or listen to a part of it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll go ahead and push play here and we will take a listen. hard to fade that down because it's so beautiful. But just for the sake of time, I'm going to do that.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
everyone, please go follow Zen Bites on SoundCloud, right? That's your SoundCloud,
Yeah.
Zen Bites.
Hmm.
And there's more music there, and it's all so beautiful. Bernhard, that's a beautiful piece of music.
Well, thank you.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's absolutely gorgeous. Congratulations. Yeah, I think it's just beautiful. And it's speaking of simplicity, it is not too full, and it leaves space for our,
Mm.
our to
Yeah.
us to listen deeply into it, which I think is really impactful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this. It's not in every piece. It's of course this different the ideas, but I like this kind of when there's a little like not a complete silence, but there's like, yeah, I say it's what you said. It breathes. It breathes
Yeah.
like, okay, then it continues, and I like it at that piece. Of course, others are a bit different and more noisy.
That's good too. We like that too.
Sure.
Yeah,
Oh
it's all
yeah.
about range. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
And everyone, again, Zen Bites on SoundCloud, and Bandcamp as well. So you've got a lot of music out there for folks to check out. I'm
Hmm.
just going to drop your Bandcamp link in the comments here,
Hmm.
zenbites.bandcamp.com. And let me drop it over here. Folks are saying very elegant. I like it. I really like it. People are saying it's very intriguing. Someone wants to know, were they electronic birds at the beginning of the track, or were they field recordings? Are you willing to share your secrets about the birds?
It's a sample that I got from Free to Use Sounds. They're on Bandcamp too. So I
Yeah,
kind of, this is where I usually get my samples. I'm not into field recording. That's just one other big
another
thing
thing.
that I haven't touched yet.
Totally
Yet.
fair.
Who knows? But yeah, it's from Free to Use Sounds. So I bought these sample packs there, and they have beautiful samples from all around the world.
Yeah, it was very beautiful. It set a good environment. Um,
Mhm.
Amazing. So I want to just put this link back up on the screen one more time for folks. If you're listening to this interview and you're thinking, I want to learn synthesis. I want to do that. I want to make sound and music and do my own sound design. This is the place to start. soundandsynthesis.com/first synth patch. It is a completely free mini course that I put together for you to help you get started in a supportive and step-by-step way without needing gear and without needing a fancy studio or anything like that. You can also DM me and say, hey, Sarah, can you send me your mini course? And I'll send you the link as well. And if any of you maybe you've already done the mini course and you're like, I want more. What's next? The answer to that is my class, Learning Sound and Synthesis, which Bernhard is a part of. And I'm so happy to have you in the community. You bring so much to the class and the community. So thank you for that.
Thanks.
And the next round of Learning Sound and Synthesis will be opening up in August. So we have a little ways to go, but it is officially Learning Sound and Synthesis season over here. So I'm going to put this link up on the screen, soundandsynthesis.com. This is where you go to find the priority list for Learning Sound and Synthesis. So when you drop your email into the priority list, it means that you're saving your spot in line. You'll be notified as soon as enrollment opens. And I have put together some really cool extra bonuses exclusively for people who enroll from this priority list, including an entire class on live performance with Modular Synths. So you can check that out, soundandsynthesis.com. Send me a DM too if you have any questions about how the class works or what you'll learn or anything like that. Bernhard, is there anything else that you want to say? I always like to wrap interviews up by passing back to the guest. So any parting words, anything that you'd like to say?
Yeah, well, let me think. I want to say that this, let's say, this is progress that I made from not making music into making music, and now where I'm today with everything that needs to be learned and all of that. There was a lot of, I mean, I think was part of it is my mindset, and there were some people, or I should say input from outside, that really got me there. It was like this now your haiku community that I found, that it was like, oh, every week I have to finish a track. That kind of kept me going. I got the maybe one example, just to wrap up. I had this. Her name is Lucette Baudin. So she was an ambient musician, and like I think she passed away 2011, and she has some music on Bandcamp, and she wrote then at that time, because she knew she was ill. She said, "If not now, when?"
Yeah.
The basic thing. And this is my thing, of we have this time now, and I mean, that's, I think, something I can, whatever that would mean for each one of us. It can be something else or different for each one, but that's something that really kind of
Yeah.
got
I
me
love
going.
that.
I said, yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely bittersweet, but it's so powerful, if not now, when. And if I may add a little bit to that,
Mm,
then, so much of the time, it's especially the things that are really for us, for fun, for joy,
mm,
just for us, for our dreams, whatever it might be.
right.
Those are the things that somehow we are so good at pushing to the side and saying, oh, I don't deserve that, or oh, that's frivolous, or oh, there's more important things to do. But
Mm,
those are also the things that make life so, not to be
right.
too emotional here, but those are the things that make life so beautiful and meaningful, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's such a powerful message and a great one to end on. If there's something that you want to do, you out there, all of you watching, um, Bernhard and I encourage you
Yeah.
to just do it. Just go for it. Don't let
Yeah.
fear stop you, and don't justify
Right.
your way out of it. Just go for it.
Exactly. Yay.
Yay!
Yay.
So good. Thank you so much, Bernhard. This was a really wonderful
Sure.
interview. And
Okay.
thank you,
Thanks you
all of
so much.
you, everyone watching and listening. Thank you for being here. Um, it's wonderful to have you here. We'll see you next time at the next Spotlight interview. And if you have any questions or comments after the fact, please feel free to drop them in the comments or send me a DM. Bye for now, everyone. Take care.